Welcome to Fish Cooking Teens. Today I'm going to show you how to properly cook some salmon with some delicious seasonings, or at least in my opinion. So, here we have some salmon that we bought from the store. Keep the scales on the bottom of them and put it on top of tin foil as the first step. Secondly, we bent up the edges of the tin foil just to create a barrier for any oils that could leak out of the fish while it's cooking. Alright, so let's go on to the toppings, I guess, seasonings, there we go. So we have 3 seasonings here. We have dill, garlic powder, and seasoning salt. And I like to use a good chunk of dill when I'm seasoning. Garlic powder I also like to use a lot of, but a lot of people have a bit of a sensitive taste for it, so if you don't know if you like it or not, either use none or use a little bit. And then seasoning salt, you don't want to use too much because then it will overpower the flavor of the salmon. But if you put just a good amount, like, I don't really know what to tell you a good amount is because it varies from person to person. So put however much you think would be a good amount for you, and then try that out. If you don't like it, there's always another opportunity. So I'm gonna start out with the seasoning salt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick it up on the spoon and just gently sprinkle it across the salmon, like so. Get this one too. Alright, so that looks like a good amount, or at least as much as I want to use. Now I'm gonna move on to the garlic powder. I'm going to, again, put it on my spoon and sprinkle it across the salmon. And you can notice I have some thicker spots of the garlic powder, but that is okay. Or at least in my opinion. If you're a perfectionist, then have fun. Now, if you have spots that have a lot of garlic powder on them and you don't want that much garlic powder, what I would do is take maybe a paper towel and just try to wipe a little bit off. And then once you're done with that paper towel, throw it away and then wash your hands. And so now lastly, we have the third seasoning I like to use, which is dill. And now I like to use a lot of dill. So I'm gonna get a good spoonful of that and once again sprinkle it over the top of the salmon. Like so. Okay, so as I said, I like to use a lot of dill, so when I put dill on the salmon, I tend to probably coat it to the point that you can't really see most parts of the salmon anymore, which a lot of people I would figure would consider too much dill. So again, if you don't want as much of one seasoning on your salmon, add however much you want. It's completely optional to have seasonings at all, so I just like adding stuff to the top of it. It tastes good that way. Or well, it tastes good otherwise, but it tastes better with seasonings. So keep that in mind if you're, I don't even really know, just keep that in mind. Alright, so now that I have sprinkled on the dill, I'm just gonna scrape the last little bits out of the bowl, dump it on the salmon. It is time to bring them out to the grill. And for the grill, you want to cook them for about 10 to 15 minutes on medium heat, and you'll know it's done if the middle is no longer opaque. Okay, So now you can see we have the salmon on the grill, and depending on how big your grill is, you might have to cook the pieces one at a time, depending also on how much salmon you're cooking. But as you can see, we have 2 pieces and our grill is large enough that we just put them side by side like that. And now we just let it cook for, like I said earlier, 10 to 15 minutes. And we'll come back and show you the finished product, I guess. All right, so the salmon is done cooking, and this is what ours looks like. As you can see, some oils definitely did leave the larger piece of salmon, and that's why we bent up the ends of the aluminum foil. Anyways, so if you're not sure about the color on your salmon, what you can do is you can take a food thermometer, and if you stick it into the salmon and it's a temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit, then you are good. So now we are going to go back inside and plate this up. And here's the final product. So as you can see, we paired the salmon with some mashed potatoes and some seasoned roasted vegetables on the side as well. You can put whatever you want on the side, honestly. We just prefer these 2 things with it. And yeah, enjoy your salmon. Alright, that concludes this video. If this type of fish wasn't your forte, we will be uploading more videos on different types of fish as time goes on. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.